Okay, since I can't remember if I talked about this in another video, I'm going to go over dividing rational numbers. That's why I put review. I might have already covered this. But I don't think that I did. I can't remember. I don't remember talking about keeping, changing, and flipping. That's what KCF means. Keep, change, flip. So if you remember when I talked about other operations, especially addition and subtraction, we talked about adding numbers, okay, and then subtracting. And when we talked about subtraction, I said there wasn't really much to talk about because you could always change any subtraction problem to an addition problem. So if you know how to add integers and rational numbers, which can have integers in them, negative numbers, positive numbers, then if you know how to add, then you can subtract. Well, division's basically the same. If you know how to, you don't really need to talk about it that much because what you're going to do is try to change every division problem into a multiplication problem. So if you know how to multiply, then you're fine. You just have to know what to do to change a division problem into a multiplication problem. And you have to know what not to do too. So I made up a really good example. I think it's a good example where it looks like you can cancel things out before you do anything, but I want to show you something. Okay? You really have to follow this keep, change, flip. Okay? So what I mean by you really have to follow it is, that's the first thing you do. You keep, you change, you flip. You don't simplify anything. You can actually simplify the 4 and the 8, but you can't simplify this way yet. So it's best just not to simplify anything. Just if you're confused, if you're like, well, he said I could simplify this, but don't do it this way. Don't cancel anything out diagonally, but you can vertically. I can't remember which to do. Well, if that's how you're thinking, just don't do anything yet. Do keep, change, flip first. I'll even remind you, do this first. So keep means to keep the first one exactly like how it is. The change part means to change this to multiplication. I'll write the multiplication symbol like that. Doesn't really matter. Flip means to take the second number, the second rational number, and flip it. Okay, once you have it keep, changed, and flipped, kept, changed, and flipped, then you can simplify either direction. Like you can simplify these numbers, so the 8's cancel out, and you're left with 7 over 4. Okay, so you can check that on your calculator too. You could do 7 over 8 divided by 4 over 8, and I believe you get 1.75, which is exactly what this is. 1 3/4. Okay. Notice if you had canceled this and this out, and then flipped everything, you wouldn't get the right answer. As a matter of fact, the answer is quite a bit different. So sometimes, if we were in class right now, I would show you doing it the wrong way, that you get not the right answer, but I don't want to do that here. Somebody might be watching it and not realizing I'm saying, oh, don't do it this way. What I'm going to do is just do another example. Probably 2 more examples. This is going to be a short video, I guess. So 5 over 8 divided by 10 over 6. So first thing I'm going to do, keep, change, flip. That's all I do. I don't even look at what the numbers are. I'm not going to worry about simplifying anything yet. Keep, change, flip. Now if there's things I can cancel out, I'll cancel them out. 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 10 twice. 2 goes into this number 3 times, 2 goes into this 4 times. So now you multiply 1 times 3 and 4 times 2. So 5 over 8 divided by 10 over 6 is 3 over 8. I'm going to check my answer. So I'm going to do 5 over 8, 5 divided by 8 divided by 10 divided by 6. 0.375, which is exactly what 3 over 8 is. Okay, so I'll do one more example, and then just so this video isn't too short, I'm going to talk about mixed numerals or mixed fractions and improper fractions. Because in the last problem we got, the answer was an improper fraction. It was 7 over 4. And I changed it to 1 3/4. So you probably already know how to do that, but we'll talk about how to do that. Let's make up another example. This is a good example. Pause the video right now and try to figure out this answer without doing any work. Okay, pause it. I'm serious. Pause it right now. Figure it out. When you figured it out, don't do any work. Just say, "Oh, I know what the answer is." Pause the video. Now turn it. When you're done, turn it back on. The answer is 1, right? Because you have a number divided by that same number, which as long as this number isn't 0, which it isn't, the answer should be 1. Right? So let's see. Keep, change, flip. Well, these cancel out, these cancel out, and you're left with 1 over 1. Alright, it was fun to do an example like that. Some people who aren't good at math or who don't want to be good at math, there are people like that, would be like, "Oh, that's a really hard problem. I need a calculator for that." Well, they might, but shouldn't really. It's just a number divided by the same number, so the answer is going to be 1. Alright, so let's talk about writing, like if you have a fraction that looks like this, it's called an improper fraction. Improper fractions when the numerator is bigger than the denominator. We want to write it as a mixed numeral. I don't know if the book, I can't remember if the book calls it a mixed numeral, or I have the book with me, but I'm like you and I don't want to get it out. Actually, not really like you because you wouldn't even have it with you probably. But, kidding, I'm kidding. You would say it's too heavy to carry around. Alright, so how do you write it as a mixed numeral? They might call it a mixed fraction, but I think they call it a mixed numeral. What do you do? Well, you say, how many times will 4 go into 7? Well, it goes in once, right? I can prove it. Watch. 4, because this means 7 divided by 4. 4 goes into that one time. And then 4 won't go into 3. So there's a remainder of 3. Well, That remainder is important. That remainder is going to be what's in the numerator, and this number here is still in the denominator. So 7 over 4 is 1 over 3/4. Now to go the other way, we already know what 1 over 3/4 is as an improper fraction. But here's how you do it. You take 4, you multiply it by this number, so 4 times 1 is 4. Then you add this number. 4 plus 3 is 7. And then the denominator is just the 4. Let's do one more example. Well, we're going to do one where we do it this way, then we'll pick a different number to go this way. (17/7). Like I said, the first thing you do is you divide. Now you can do the division on a calculator if you want, but 7 goes into 17 2 times. 7 does not go into 3, so you have a remainder of 3. So this is going to be 2. Then 3 from the remainder, then 7 from what's already in the denominator. So 17/7 is 2 3/7. Okay, we're going to pick a totally, and you can if you want, you can pause the video and see that to go from this number to that number, you take this number, multiply that number, and add that number, which would be 17, then you just keep the denominator the same. Okay, so I'm going to pick a totally different number that's a mixed numeral to change into an improper fraction. 4 5/8. I want to write it as an improper fraction. Well, how you do that is you take 8 and multiply it by 4, that gives you 32, then add 5, that gives you 37, and then you write it all over 8. Pretty simple steps, and if you want to try to change this into a mixed numeral, which you already know is that, you can do it the way I just did it. You take this number, divide it by that number, and then write the remainder over the denominator. Alright, so maybe I'll come up with one more video for chapter 4, but I'll have to do it tomorrow because I'm losing my voice right now.